And we're rolling. Here we are with the main man himself, Mr Motivator, who is bringing his new book out. And mate, you've already given me a serious workout, haven't you?
Well, I sent you for a run, did I?
He sent me for a run. So I was waiting for Amazon Prime to deliver the book. They didn't get it there on time, so I turned up, and then I went to go and get a book.
Oh, well.
From a bookstore. I failed the first time. I failed the second time. I failed the third time. I failed the fourth time, mate.
And I've got the only copy. I've got the only one copy left, and you're not having this one.
No, that's fine. We'll get one. We will get one in the end, though.
Right,
but Evans, Derek Evans. That's a good Welsh name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm sure historically, if I check back into the annals of history, I'm sure I'll find that originally we came from Wales, or my ancestors came from Wales.
Yeah.
Wales is the place I really love because I used to go there very often. I used to go camping in North Wales. Bedgellet is a favourite story of mine. And
how can that be a favourite story? That Prince Llewhellin kills the dog.
Well, you know how it is. Things happen. But he was a faithful hound.
He was a faithful hound. He killed the wolf, didn't he? That come in. It's an old story, and
not many people would know about that.
Not many people know this famous place in North Wales. And it's a long old story anyway.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But that Prince Llewellyn was said because he killed his dog by accident, because he thought a wolf killed his baby. But the dog actually killed the wolf.
Right, saved the baby. Really.
Saved the baby, and Prince Llewellyn never smiled again. You ain't going to get that problem with me, mate.
Okay, fine,
this
good.
Llewellyn will be smiling.
All right, great.
So you were born in Jamaica, you were there for about 3 years, you went to Leicester.
No, actually, I didn't leave Jamaica until when I was 10 years of age.
Oh, right.
It was a difficult time. I mean, you know, when you're given away at 3 months old, it's not the ideal start, but it was better than if my mother tried to manage with me. So adopted parent was who looked after me, and my adoptive father, he came to the UK in about 58, I think he came up here. And then I followed in 1962.
Well, I did not know any of that, and do you know what? Two of my friends, Jamie Bolsh, world 400 meter indoor champion, adopted, Jamaican background.
Right.
Althea Grant, same situation.
Yeah.
She came out to the UK and was sort of abandoned by her mum. Well, I don't know about abandoned. Well, it was abandoned. I think she was 6 years old. And then she was just dropped off with the auntie and uncle one day, and the mum or dad said bye.
Yeah, it happens a lot in Jamaican families, you know, because the extended family, or even if it's strangers, used to just take in children. They don't necessarily officially adopt them. They would look after them. And, you know, I was never officially adopted because my adoptive parents are called Rose.
Yeah.
And I'm Evans, but they never hid it from me that I was, you know, given away. But you know what? As I say to everybody, where you are is kind of critical. How you got there is critical as well.
Yeah.
But you must focus on where you are, because then every decision that you have made, or what other people have made for you, was the right decision. Because you're there. If you're dead, someone made a mistake with the decision. But if you're alive and you're healthy and you're happy, every decision that's been made for you must have been the right decision.
Do you believe in fate then?
Yeah, I think I do, because I really honestly believe that, for a start, everyone that you meet, there's a reason why you meet them. And sometimes you just have to be patient to see how it plays out, because you meet them and you think, what was that all about? But if you let it play out, give it time, then you can see how it all fits in, because you know, I think what tends to happen in our lives is that there's a whole stack of different dominoes being stood on end. And eventually when they're all in the right place, the first one topples over and everything kind of collides and makes things happen. It's a bit like you're after that job or that occupation, and you work and work away and it doesn't happen. Then eventually everything collide and come together. Bingo, there it is. That's what I believe. I believe that happens.
I believe exactly the same, and synchronicity and stuff like that.
Yes, it does. It does. And that's why I think it's so important that people, when they meet people, make time for them, because you just never know when that person could be, you know, a good friend or someone who could help you out. You know, a good mate of mine, Mercy Mainwaring, I've known him for 50 years, and he's a Christian. He never pushes down his religion down your throat, so you don't know. You can just tell by the way he acts and the way he behaves, there's something special about him. But he's always paying forward. And he's always then getting things given to him. Just when things are desperate, someone will come and say, look, there's a new job available, do you want to do it? At the moment he's off to Belgium working for someone. He's 66. But throughout his life, that's what happened all the while. And it's all to do with, you get good karma if you give. And give, it's nothing financial. Giving is just giving of your time, of yourself. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
So you believe in karma as well, sending the good stuff out?
Yeah. Because, I mean, for a start, we do gravitate to a dominant thought. There's so many people out there, right, who just basically say something can't be done.
Yeah.
Well, if you believe it can't be done, it will never be done.
Yeah.
If there are people who go, well, today's going to be a horrible day. Well, straight away, by saying it like that, I've set myself up for it being a horrible day.
Yeah.
Whereas if I go, even if the weather's terrible, I feel horrible, I got a headache, and I go, you know what, today is really going to be all right. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah. Did you always have that mindset when you were a kid, or is that something you developed later?
Yeah, it's you know, when you go through the university of life.
Everyone's got that on their Facebook. Or University of Hard Knocks. That's what they've been through.
Yeah, but when you've gone through 6 decades of it,
yeah,
right, you've lived, and there aren't many things that someone can say to me that they're going through that I probably haven't gone through. And so once you do that, you gain an experience.
Yeah.
When you gain that experience, it helps you to be able to formulate opinions on how you're going to be for the future. And so, all the things I take on board now is all based on my experiences and things I've learned. I'll give you an example. I'll always remember I used to resent my mother for giving me up. I used to think, why did she give me up and stuff like that? And a gentleman heard the radio show I was on when I said that. And he wrote into me and he said, I wouldn't resent it, Mr. M, because if she had struggled with you, where would you be today? So if you look at where you are, you realize that the right decision was made.
Yeah.
Right? Even though it may have been the toughest decision in the world for her, or it may have been an easy decision, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
For you, you've benefited from that decision.
Yeah.
And I took that on board. That's something I learned. And I learned that 30 years ago. But I've always repeated it over and over again to people and tell them, look, you know, everything happens for a reason.
So it's basically not holding on to bitterness.
No, if you hold on to it, it makes you bitter.
Yeah.
It does, you know. I see people who carry so much pain, grief, stress in their face, in their shoulders, in their posture.
Yeah.
Just purely because they just don't let it go. You know, you've got to learn to kind of compartmentalize your life. So I do have little, for want of a better word, little safes. And if I can't deal with something at a particular moment, I lock it in there.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to deal with it. So for example, I'll give you a classic example, and that is the mail arrives, and in amongst them is an envelope, and I know what's in it. It's the tax man, right? And I don't think in my list of things, and I write down everything I've got to do, I don't think in my list of things I've got to do, I can cope with that letter right now.
Yeah.
And I'm only joking when I say tax man. It could be a letter from a broken relationship.
It's a brown envelope, isn't it, mate?
It's that
just
envelope.
Them brown envelopes. Yeah. We don't like them brown envelopes coming through our doors.
Yeah. So what I do, I leave it. So I've locked it away, haven't I? I don't have to face up to it.
Yeah.
On the list of things I've got to do each day, I tick them as I go along.
Yeah.
So let's say on Monday there was 20 things and I only got down to 18, so I only did 2 things.
Yeah.
So I still can't cope with it because there's really space for it, not in my life emotionally or physically or mentally. I wait until I've got down to probably 2 or 3 things left on my to-do list. Then I go, now I'm prepared to deal with it.
Right.
And that's what people need to do with situations that happen.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes you do have to ignore it.
Yeah.
Till you are strong enough and feel that you can cope with it.
Whatever's going to happen from that brown letter.
Yes.
Can I tell you a little story? Not so long ago, I had a brown letter. It was from I think it was some sort of car fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was 250 quid or something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I did, mate. I ignored it. and I ignored it, and I ignored it.
And it went.
And then all of a sudden,
It was 1,000.
it was like flipping 800 quid.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
had the bailiff on my door. But do you know what happened from the bailiff?
Wow.
Right? The bailiff come to my house, and it was so funny because I opened the door, and you know they're normally used to that whole sort of, oh God, I hate you. I was like, come on in, mate.
Have a cup of
Come
tea."
on in. We started chatting. It led to becoming friends with somebody, and his friend I helped a little bit, and he put a massive
See what I mean?
donation towards my book. So tell us about your book. Well, you can tell us about. I normally wait for the end, but I've just shot my mouth off now, and you can tell us a bit about it now, mate.
About this, well, you know, it's. I actually wasn't going to publish it initially. It was me just writing down what I'd gone through in my life, because I really wanted to make sure that my children could read and know exactly
Yeah.
what you do to actually protect them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in the end, after writing it, I felt it was important that I put it out there so the public could understand more about why I smile, why am I in bright colours, why am I happy.
Are you always dressed like that?
Yes,
Are
yes,
you?
because I've had too many years when I was just like you. Stab
Oh,
him.
mate.
Yeah, but you know, it was, and so it was important because I mean, people tend to judge you. Come on, they look at you, they go,
Everyone
"You're always
judges,
happy.
don't they?
You're always happy.
Yeah.
You've never had the troubles and stuff like that. They haven't got a clue."
No.
And so, you know, when I go through the fact that I was given away at birth, that I used to run around barefooted, that I was homeless, I was a one-parent family, I had a daughter I was looking after on my own. I had to do everything for her from when she was 3 years of age. When you're staying in a bed and breakfast and there's 4 families sharing the same bathroom or kitchen, when you sleep rough for a while, when all that kind of thing goes on,
Yeah.
there's 2 directions you can go, right? One is you can really go down, so you're in the depths and you probably become a criminal, you steal, you get locked up and stuff like that, or you work. And I really believe that no one owes me anything.
Yeah.
So therefore I've got to work harder. There was never anyone around to help me when I was desperate. The only time I'll always remember, excuse me, someone offering to help me was I'd come off air. It was after being at GMTV for about a week. And I went into a cafeteria to buy a sandwich.
Yeah.
Bought a sandwich, just about to give him the money, and he said, no, you can have it. I said, no, I've got to pay for it. He said, no. He said, you bring me too much joy in the mornings, you can have it. If I'd gone into that same cafeteria in the years or the times when I was hungry and stuff like that, would you have given me anything?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
No.
Not a chance. So it's funny, isn't it? So we tend to get things given to us when you least need it. And in fact, that's why people who are well known, they don't really ever, they don't spend money.
I'm having it now, or I just had 2 friends, like, just said, I'll fly you, one said, I'll fly you to Amsterdam, and we all inclusive paid. Another friend said, I'll fly you to Saint-Tropez and all of this, and it's like, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
It's I'm so grateful, though, that they would think of me in that way, do you know what I mean?
Paying forward. You do some good, and you've done a lot of good in your life. I was reading about things you've done, raising money for charity. All those things, right, it pays forward. You don't do it for what
Yeah.
you might, for that.
Yeah.
You do it because you get that personal satisfaction. And that's why I said to people, when I was not so successful, when I was doing things for money,
Yeah.
when I had to find food and put on money to put food on the table and those things, my success was minimal. When I started doing it because it was my love and it's what made me smile and made me want to work until all hours of the night, that's when I became successful.
Because you were doing what you love doing?
Yeah. Happy is the man who can earn his living from his hobby.
Yeah. I did hear somebody say something as well, or read it, that said if you find a job you love, you'll never work in a day in your
Never
life.
work a day in your life. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's and everyone deserves to do that, and we can all do it. It's just that we go, well, I've got my monthly amount coming in, and I'm happy with it because it's paying my mortgage and paying my gas and my electricity. But guess what? You got an idea that's milling around in your head. You've
Yeah.
got something that you really want to do. Take time out and do it. You're not going to lose out because, you know, if your world at the moment is like this, so only a few people see you, the moment you change occupation or do something different, it goes like this. Loads more people see you, and those extra people that see you are now people who could possibly offer you something that you would never been offered before.
Yeah.
You very rarely find people headhunt someone because they go, oh, he's happy in what he's doing. I'm not going to go and disturb him. I'm going to leave him where it is. Very rarely do they ever go, come on, come with me. But the moment you're available, all of a sudden they go, I didn't realize you were available.
Yeah.
So you need to create the environment, right, that you can be employed and you can do anything that you want.
How do people sort of, if they're in that like 9 to 5 and they hate their job and they're just thinking to myself, I hate my job, but if I do leave, I've got this rent, this mortgage, this car bill, this like, you know, would you say crash on a sofa and follow your dream or something?
You know, it's not so much that. I mean, look, you've got to be, unless you're going to be dependent on other people, you've got to put yourself in a position where you're not. So how about you do this? As you're working away, you save your pennies.
Yeah.
Because your pennies eventually become pounds. So if you can get yourself where you're 6 months ahead of yourself on all your expenses, right, and that may take you 2-3 years to do it, but at least you're 6 months ahead of your expenses. Then you can give up whatever you're doing, and you can say, I'm going to try this new thing for 6 months.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to make some sacrifice to succeed.
Yeah.
Right? You can't crash on someone's sofa and depend on them. I've never done that. I can't do it. And I would say that don't ever do it. Now, one thing I did do, I did give up a good job when I was 27 and said, look, I'm not going to work for anybody else from now. That was brave. That was brave. But
it's a bold move.
But I'm the kind of person, I have lots of ideas always going on in my head. So therefore, it's only a question of me putting one of those ideas into action, which I did.
So you'd say one of the keys to success is being bold and take risks?
You've got to. You know, the world doesn't owe you anything, but you can take from the world what you want.
Yeah.
That's, you know, so until you make that first step towards your dream, it will still only just remain a thing of, you know, a dream. A dream.
What would you say is the biggest killer of dreams then for people psychologically?
Thinking that they can't.
Yeah. That's it.
That's right.
Because as Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't.
That's right. You're right.
You're right.
You're right. You know, it's that. But you've got to think about it. Can't. Just cross the T off. What have you got?
Yeah.
Impossible. Cross the I'm possible. Impossible. I'm possible.
Well, yes. 3 big keys to success. If I said, give me 3 things people need to be, you know, whatever success is to them. Some people it's winning a medal, some people it's money, some people it's becoming more well known, some people it's, you know, going from what
Like, go back there, just need to find out. Anybody back?
Sorry?
Anybody's back?
Which one is that?
One at the front. Blue back, rucksack.
I haven't got a clue. There's a lady who was sitting there. That's her coat. Yeah. Okay.
we got a security risk here, mate.
Yeah. Was there a lady sitting there, mommy, or was it a man? Okay, all right. Okay.
How's it going, mate?
It was going well, wasn't it?
We were just flowing.
You were talking about keys to success.
Do you know, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you call success. Some people relate success to money, don't they? How much money I have.
Yeah.
It's funny, it's a question I've never been asked in terms of what do I call success. I think for me, I love empowering people to do well. I love actually just being able to find time for someone which maybe just gives them a nugget of information that they can take and it helps them to have a spring in their step so they can bounce towards their dreams.
Yeah.
Right? The one thing for sure, for you to be successful, you can't do it alone.
No.
The most successful runner out there has a team of people around them, from a physio right through to a coach, through to name it. That's what you have to have. For doing what you do, you have to have other people around you.
Yeah.
Right? And whether they travel with you or whether they just help you to prepare, they're there. For me, I was very singular in the old days and my success was limited. And that's why my emotional happiness is one of the biggest keys to success.
Yeah.
And emotional doesn't mean that you're living with your loved one, that you're married and that you, whatever it is, or you've identified what your sexuality is. That's not emotional.
Yeah.
Emotional happiness is you being at one with who you are.
Yeah. happy with who
happy
you are,
with who you are.
comfortable
If
in
your
yourself.
if your package is you got to have someone in your right arm to hold, that's fine. That's your emotional package. But there are lots of people out there who think I've got to have someone to be
As soon as
happy.
that package gets taken away from you, as it will inevitably, either
Yeah.
through breakup or death,
Or death or whatever.
then
Then you're
lost.
then you're lost. Then you're lost.
how do people get to that sort of being one with themselves, where they've got that confidence, they feel comfortable in their own skin, and they don't need a flaming Lamborghini or a wife or a boyfriend or
It's a whole. There are many steps, many steps to it. Because number one, as we get older, our demands become less.
yeah.
When you're in your 20s, you want everything. You want the fast car. You want loads of women, right? Right. You want money so you can buy the Zoot suit, right? You want all those things. When you get
Chuck
into
in the yacht and
right,
the stealth fighter as
all
well,
in your
mate.
20s.
Let's have that.
When you get to your 30s, right, you probably have found the woman,
Yeah.
right? So that's one thing less on the list. And once you've done that, you then change. The Lamborghini is not very important.
Yeah.
It's now a Prius, or it's a family car, right? And the suits are not that critical. But it's really important that you start thinking about the home you're going to live together. In your 40s, you've probably got the home, you've got the family that's on the way, and guess what? The list is now reduced. It's come right down in terms of what your requirements are. And all of a sudden, things that were important in your 20s are no longer important. The material things that you wanted, the extra television that you can't possibly watch is no longer important.
Yeah.
The extra car that you wanted to drive around in is no longer important. Right? So materially, what I maintain there are 4 pillars that we need to support us so that we have a state of well-being. There's your emotional fitness, which we touched on earlier.
Yeah.
Your physical fitness is critical. Your emotions affect your physical, totally. Right? If you're not emotionally happy, no matter how much you work, you can't, get physically fit. Financial fitness doesn't mean I have to have a load of money in the bank. Financial fitness means being happy with what I have. Am I able to pay my electricity, my gas? Am I able to put food on the table? Am I occasionally able to go down to Primark and buy something?
Yeah.
Right? And that's it. I'm quite happy where I am. And I'll come and tell you where people are very happy like this. The other one is your mental fitness. Your mental fitness is basically, nothing can affect me now. Because emotionally, I'm happy. Financially, I feel really good. Physically, I feel really good. Now, mentally, what's left? The only thing that can affect me is other people.
Yeah.
So if you come with your problems, you're not coming into my home. I will meet you down the road. I'll meet you in the cafeteria, the pub, right? So that way, when you leave feeling good,
Yeah.
you haven't left your baggage behind in my vicinity.
Yeah.
If I invite you in my home and deal with you on this mental level and stuff like that, you leave feeling good. And I'm going, oh my
That's
Lord.
draining.
Oh my Lord. And that's happened so much time with my wife and I. We go, boy, they have problems. We don't have a problem in the world.
Yeah.
And they after a while make you start questioning your own sanity. Right?
Yeah.
So those pillars are really important to me. And the place I get that balance is when I'm away from the UK.
What was that?
Yeah,
Jamaica,
because-
sunning
yes,
it up, mate.
when I'm down there, I mean, my life is just so different. When I'm
Yeah.
here, I'm caught up with other people's pressures are on you all the time. They get on the phone and say, you got to do this by,
Yeah.
that destabilizes you. The other thing is,
Like getting the book when you had me running all over the place. You had me
right. You're on the train,
Yeah.
nobody speaks to anybody. No
Yeah.
one speaks. No one ever says, how you doing, Mark? And wait around to find out how you are. By the time you're ready to go, well, it's like they're down the road, they're not interested.
Yeah.
Right? If you live in deepest Wales, it's probably different.
It is a different thing. I can remember because when I did the bodyguard stuff, I lived in Park Lane.
Yeah.
And I never forget. I went out, I had hardly any time off. I went for 2 runs in the space of 3 weeks, and I was running around and I'd say, hi,
No.
and people are like that.
No, yeah, you're weird.
But if we do it in Haverfordwest in South West Wales, it's we're looking at a possible bomb package there. But I don't think it's going to be able to destruct us too.
No,
It's
okay.
not going to, mate.
No.
We've got like this positive force field.
We're not running out of here. We're going to stay where we are. We're in a.
But you're right.
Yeah.
It's certain environments.
Yeah.
And even though I was in one of the most exclusive areas in London,
Yeah.
I couldn't be. Oh, it's too. I like visiting.
Yes. But you can't. Listen, it's a bit like, you fly in an airplane. If you're in cattle class, everybody talks to everybody. Right? You can have a real good laugh.
Yeah.
Going to business class, occasionally they may talk to you. Going to first class, nobody speaks to anybody.
No.
What a sad world,
God.
isn't it? And these are people who have all the money and stuff in the world. And that's why money only buys a different kind of happiness. That's all it does.
Yeah.
Right? It's not real happiness. It's not real. And for me, as I say, Jamaica is my escapism. It's where it's at. Unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, I have to come here and work. So therefore, the wonderful thing is, I know that I've got my sanctuary I can escape to. And everybody needs that when we talk about for you to be successful. You've got to create a place which is your kind of
Sanctuary.
yes. For you, it may be running. That's where you zone out. Some people, it's just having their man den.
Yeah. Mate, I've got to blow my nose. I've been trying to be really professional. Right?
Well, it's okay.
I'm holding it.
You've not been able to afford a good tissue. It's okay, mate.
I need look at that. I need a
It's okay, guy. You just do your own thing.
Oh my God, that's good.
You feel better. You feel better now. I'm so glad to hear it. All right.
That's good. But I tell you what, since I've started growing all this,
Yeah.
you kind of, you don't want all everywhere over this. Do you know what I'm saying, mate? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, mate.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. But it's funny. You sit here, right? You look out there, and it's sunny and bright, and yes, everybody's in their dark colours.
Yeah.
That tells you how they
spice up
feel.
the place, mate.
Always.
You're spicing it up.
Always.
Mr Motivator, how can people get in touch with you?
Easy. MrMotivator.com, Twitter, Facebook, all over the place. But
Yeah.
you can get my book from any good bookstores. You can go online.
Check us out. That's what we're going to do. Now, because I've been running all around London to try to get these books, I'm going to hunt down Helen, your PR person, and I'm going to say, Helen, I want that signed for Cheryl, Jamie, and Althea.
So maybe I better give you the only copy I have then. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, you can't do that. No, I wouldn't. I can't take this off.
Well,
you, mate.
I'll get in touch with the PR as well. You speak to them, and I'll actually make sure we sign one.
Sort it out.
Yeah, someone for
And
you.
talking about Jamaica, Jill Heyman, my friend, I asked her if you wanted to ask a question for you, and she said, "Can you take her back to Jamaica, please?"
Okay. She'll have to become. I'll become a Muslim, and
Yeah.
she can come and live with us.
Yeah, that sounds
That
good to
means-
me.
you see, my
That's
wife
what
is-
you're gonna do, Jill.
That's right. My wife is quite happy with me being a Muslim.
Oh.
3 wives.
Yeah?
Yeah.
3
She was
wives,
nice.
you can't fault that business, can you? Mr. Motivator, thank you very much for your time. It has been an honour
Thank you,
and a
matey.
pleasure, my
Thank
friend.
you. Thank you. My goodness.